How you doing?
I'm doing well enough. How about you?
Good. I'm just opening up. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Just awesome. Just gonna double check and make sure that I've got transparency mode on. Hang on. Just want to be able to hear. Oh, there we go. Let me know if that music in the background gets too much.
I can't hear any music in the background, so I can vaguely hear it, just like two
There we
seconds
go.
ago.
There we go. How you doing?
Well enough, well enough.
Are you working tonight? Did you work last night?
No, I just spent the last 5 days working in a row, so
Oh my God.
I'm definitely not working tonight.
So what do you got? You got anything planned for tonight?
Not standing mostly.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah, you'd like
Oh, I really
a
lucked
switch
out
from
last
that.
night. I ended up with an 8-hour shift, but my manager let me wear headphones for the entire thing, so it was far more manageable than usual.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Get that, so that was really fun.
That's super cool. Here, let me pull up the goods. I love what you sent me this week, actually. This was this was a fun read.
I just want to
Where?
tweak the prologue to get it just right, and then I'm posting it to Royal Road.
Yeah, and it's I
Well, the
think you're good to
prologue
go.
ending in this case.
hmm Yeah, I've only got a couple of suggestions. One, yeah, just a couple areas and maybe a thing at the end. So in other words, what I'm going to be presenting here is less about anything that needs to change or is needs to be fixed because it's not working. It's more about, especially if you want to put it up, then I would definitely encourage you to, as tempting as it is to want to just get it up there right away, definitely take to heart the three things that I'm going to share with you because they're going to be, in my opinion, the things that make a story like yours jump out at people and go, oh, he took that extra step. So let me just go right to it because everything else is pretty solid. Um, Now that you've brought back the magic reference here, but in a sort of a generalized way without referring to any details, this is so strong. And if anything, now I'm like, okay, I'm going to encourage you to go the other direction and go deeper in it. Like, not the other direction, don't do this. Go more into it. So, for example, he raised his hand, mumbling something under his breath for a second. His hands glowed with a soft light as he completed his incantation. So definitely don't. This would be my strong advice. If you're going to, you're raising the idea of magic and telling us we're not going to get any details all in the same paragraph. So it's sort of like he raised his hands. And I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be cool. And he finishes incantation. He's over. I'm like, what? It's like saying she took her clothes off, and the next thing it was tomorrow. You know. Um, so my suggestion would be he raised his hand, mumbling something under his breath. Lean into this moment because this, to me, is a highlight moment in this scene. It's such a great opening chapter. Generally, you've got like right off the top, the elevator, the sort of Stranger Things, the thing that immediately shifts gears so it doesn't look like it's just Stranger Things. The monster coming in, the raising his hand. I would spend a good I would spend a page. I would give that at least a page with him not much long, one or two, probably not more than two, but I would toy with two because it feels like it wants to. The audience will feel cheated. I think I did. Uh, Damn you, because it's such a good potential in this moment. It's the only chance we see. The only chance we see that he gets to maybe, just maybe, stave off these monsters. So otherwise, it's just him going, "Oh shit!" through the whole thing until finally he's dead. Having a moment of resistance where he almost does it that makes us go, "What?" You've got it here, so I would expand it.
Hmm.
Let's hear the incantation. I want to hear it. I don't want to hear the. I don't want to hear that he said it. I want to hear it. Um,
Yeah, but
while he's like,
then I have to do incantations for everything, and
maybe
that's a lot of text that
then
nobody
don't
actually
do
wants to read.
then don't do incantations. Like do a like "Hello, I'm Alora" or something like some Harry Potterish thing. But the key is whether he says anything or not. I want to see him. Could be short lived. It's obvious. Like, okay, is this guy like the last line of defense? It raises all these great dramatic questions. but it's also just a moment of resistance. I would absolutely expand on that. And if you want to send it to me before you send it up, before we meet next, just that one section, I will totally read it because I think it's that important from my point of view. Um, this here, this is not a huge thing here. I think I know what you're doing, but Jeffrey screamed. Does he know who this is? Is he
Yeah,
indicating that?
he's screaming at the monster. There's no one else there from his perspective, so
Okay. So who's he? Who's when he says you? What does he mean?
he means the monster. I mean,
He's saying.
he just watched his friend get ripped apart by a monster. He's standing in front of it, and he's screaming in outrage. I thought it was rather obvious that he's screaming at a monster that just killed his friend.
So what it sounds like he's saying is you, like, oh my God, he knows who this monster is. Like, okay, we're going to find out who they are now. It sounds like he's identifying him rather than being, even though you say he's screaming and he's outraged, I'm not getting personally that message. It sounds very definitive. Like so if you're just trying to make him like, damn you would be enough for, depending on how far you want to go with this, but God damn you or something. But if it's just you, I thought he was identifying him like, okay, we're going to find out who this person was. Or this monster was. Jeffrey screamed. I think I might be tempted just to say whatever he's going to say. And actually, you could technically, and I mean, this is totally up to you if you did, because the way the rest of this is worded too, that much was obvious to Richard. However, he was about as effective as a newborn baby. He was helpless. Not that Jeffrey's mind could process this right now. All of that's sort of implied, and I think it's scarier, honestly, if you go straight to "I'll kill you, you piece of shit." So that's totally up to you. Like, crossing it doesn't mean I think you have to get rid of it. It was just that's the one part in the story where I went, what? And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was going on. You don't want to kill the flow like that. Just me. Test it with other people, see if you get that same reaction. I had it pretty strongly. And then the flow just continues, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome to the end. I love what you did at the end. And this is just icing on the cake. You can take or leave the suggestion. But what I would love to, this is how I would visualize it, is the idea that before he sees the message sent, I kind of was hoping like at the last minute, he's quickly trying to get it out. Meanwhile, here comes the tentacles and everything else like that. If I was a director and I wanted to film this scene, I would show that the creature's tentacle, like whoosh, like a crack whip, or come like knock that, like obliterate that computer. But just like the second before it does it, we see the message sent. And then everything goes dark for him or whatever. But I don't know, you can play with that, see if it works. It works just fine the way it is because it's like message sent. Good, that's the hook. Boom, I'm definitely going to read the next chapter. You could completely leave it like that and it would be fine. But it might not hurt to just like the monster takes it out and it looks like, oh my God, what if he can't send this message? Gravy, only if you want to. Otherwise, the only thing I would expand, I think, is the green glowing magic. Otherwise, I think it's the tightest thing you've ever written. And I think it's I might go. I mean, if I was to sugar it up, I might go through and sugar it up a little bit. Like I've been reading it for story structure, making sure that it makes sense, basically, and there's a good dramatic flow to it. I mean, if it was me, I might go through it and touch up the wording of it and maybe make it more eloquent and pretty.
I could do that forever, and I'm
Fair.
not competing
Okay.
in the same market with Stephen King. I'm competing with Everybody Loves Large Chess, Perfect stories like that, and stories like that also aren't competing with Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Also, at some point, it just becomes more important to get it out there rather than doing it perfect.
So totally, and I love that. You know what? I support that fully. If you just want to get it out, totally. What I would do then is not do a check to make it pretty, make a check to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. Richard opened his blurry eyes. The elevator's lights overhead stung his eyes. You don't want eyes twice in a row. So yeah. because that is
do a read through again.
Yeah, and I would read it out loud, like what I do often, with things like this. I don't know if you've got somebody that you can do this with.
I have a program that does it for me.
But here's what I'm thinking. I would want a human being to respond by saying, "Oh yeah, that sounded clunky because you say the word eyes twice in a row." Because sometimes we don't catch it. The writer is the writer. We don't see it. We don't notice it. So I might just have one other person other than me critically read through it. Critically, but only for this. I think that, get other people to read it for story if you want, but You just don't want repetition. You definitely want it to flow. It's great. It's good stuff. And this thing that you're going to submit it to, is it the kind of thing where people will give you feedback?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Whether I like it or not, they will give me feedback.
That's totally fair. Yeah, I'll be curious to see when you do post it. Will you send me the link?
Sure, definitely.
Because I'd love to see kind of what some of the feedback is that you get.
Yeah. Well, it's just a comment section, so buckle up.
Nice. Okay, do you want me to hit my comments on Julius so far as well?
Sure. Let's go with Julius's chapter now.
Let's pull that up. That was also fun. Actually, I'm a big fan of what you've done here, because
I took a lot longer with that one because I was trying to get his opening speech just right, and I kept jumping back between Bill Cipher, Adam Ruins Everything, and I think one other show that I was pulling parts out for before I finally ended up with this.
Love it. No, so these are some of this is I'll let you know if it's a thing I think you need to do.
That's a great idea. I originally had a sundae. Well, it was first the coffee, then a chocolate sundae, then back to coffee.
But yeah, Julius buying him a child's ice cream cone makes perfect sense because he's a bit of a dick.
Well, it's so fun too, because then I just love the idea that Watkins ultimately won't just be critiquing the fact that he's eating ice cream, but why the hell do you get me this ice cream? So everything I'm suggesting here will be just little tweaks. Watkins stared at a sundae for a minute. My suggestion would be stared at his cone. Eat it before it all melts. What are we doing here, sir? I think I'm going to suggest that you give Watkins the first line, because it's sort of here you go, and Julius just starts eating without any qualification. Rather, because I'm also going to suggest eat up before it all melts closer to the end, and you'll see why. Take or leave it. What do we do? It's great if he just starts licking, and Watkins is like, "What are we doing here, sir?" And I love the response you give is great. We're eating ice cream, Watkins. What do you think? I laughed out loud at that. And I'm going to suggest, just for the sake of brevity and clips, don't worry, I'll cover some of the stuff you're saying. I'm going to suggest you cut to this and do it in this order. So take or leave this, but chew on it. We're eating ice cream, Watkins. What do you think we're doing? Sir, I joined the Bureau of Paranormal Activity to fight monsters. Good. That's expositional. You say it later, right? Good. Yes. Tell us, even whether or not he would actually say this in real life, we need to hear him say it so we know what's going on. Perfect. Sir, I joined the Bureau of Paranormal Activity to fight monsters. And you just told me these ghouls have moved. You told me that ghouls have moved into the local cemetery and killed 3 people. Yes. No disrespect, sir, but why the hell are we just sitting here at 2 a.m. eating snacks? Right? Like he's trivializing the ice cream. And then, so in other words, I've taken what you said and I've just parsed it out so that the final thing he says, why are we sitting here eating ice cream at 2 a.m, which is kind of what you had, I just love all of this. By the way, take a step back. I'm going to take a step back. This is so much stronger and human and enjoyable than what you had originally, which was good. You got to put something down to start with where they're just suddenly in the graveyard and they're dealing with the monsters. That felt a little Saturday morning cartoons.
I had page limits there, so
yeah,
I have a very good excuse for that.
This feels so, first of all, like I said last week, it is a brilliant way to follow up that chapter you just gave me. That chapter you just gave me was Mad Max Fury Road. My adrenaline was going 100 miles an hour from the beginning of the chapter to the end. I desperately wanted something light after that. And it's so emotionally satisfying to follow up a chapter like that with a chapter like this. Slow, nothing is threatened, nothing's at stake. It's just funny, relaxed. It's a great way to introduce me to Julius. It's just brilliant.
Hey, quick question. Is it actually Mad Max Fury Road, or does it feel like Slender Man? Because there's an important difference there.
A bit of both. I was referring just to the kind of the nonstop of it. But sure, Slender Man, way scary. Yeah, way more like that in terms of the creepy factor of being chased, kind of thing like that. Yeah, it's creepy as hell. Your whole first chapter is my, like I've said before, it's my favorite first introduction to any story you've ever written. It's really great. And just a wicked second chapter. So great way to introduce character, great emotional shift. So these are some suggestions that I just putting in here, not because I think you need to do what I've written here, but um, the way Julius responds is so brilliant because it's like this bizarrely philosophical moment that makes complete sense that he would say something like this. And there's two reasons that I like it, and I'm hoping it's because you either you accidentally did something that's genius, or you were intentional about it. But this is what it is. You're not just giving us a light moment. You're not just getting philosophical, but you are actually underneath it all telling us something really, really important about the story. You're telling us that, the reality is, what do these guys do for a living? What they do for a living requires them to consider the fact that they could die at any time.
Not only that,
right?
but they're going in with like minimal resources into urban environments. Like, strictly speaking, you should have like SWAT teams doing this, not two idiots.
Fair. So but this whole idea that underneath it, I have this very serious, like, sense of seriousness, like, oh, this is great, this is funny, this is a great introduction to these characters, but for him to be talking this way suggests the obvious, which is that they're about to die. So
yeah, I'm also foreshadowing Watkins' death.
Fair. So when he says something like, what are we doing here? How do you want to die, Watkins? What? And then you could do something like this. I'm going to suggest you do this before you go to we're about to go into life and death. Do you know what 9 out of 10 people in old folks' homes regret the most, Watkins? I'm sorry? It's not being stuck in a home or getting old or even knowing that you're going to die. No, they regret the things they didn't do, the opportunities they let slip by, the little things they didn't enjoy in the moment that made life worth living, like enjoying a delicious ice cream when it's right in front of them. So it's, that kind of a thing that sort of says at the end of life, so refer to older people, like that's a great opportunity to say, you know what people think, because originally what I thought, do you know what the last thing that goes through people's heads is before they die? You could totally go there too, but that's much more intense. Oh my God, these are the things I didn't do. They don't get mad because they didn't get, do you know what I wish that I'd done? I wish I'd gotten a thinner TV. Nobody thinks that.
And now I remember who's the other person I'm quoting in this. Is Gabriel Iglesias, the comedian.
Oh, there you go. So I would just consider expanding it just a little more and sit in the philosophical moment a bit more. Then here's the deal. We're about to go into life and death struggle with monsters, Watkins. Like, give us that philosophical preface and then go into what they do. You could die. In the course of your career at the BPA, you and I will be eating. Yeah, you and I will probably be eaten by a bloodthirsty monster or something equally messy. I think you can. My suggestion would be, so this is probably going to be a little chaotic. If it was me, I would go. You and I will probably be eaten by a bloodthirsty monster or something equally messy. Blank stare from Watkins. The point is to enjoy life, okay? Because you never know what job is going to be your last. Bon appetit, right? I think the stuff that's kind of slow. The stuff you have here isn't bad. It's just kind of slowed it down a little bit for me. And
if I change ice cream to cake and like scramble the lines, then do you think I could still have I could have a piece of cake tonight? I don't want to die tomorrow knowing I could have a piece of cake tonight.
What's with the cake?
Sorry?
What's the deal with the cake?
It's a quote. It's a quote from a comedian.
Oh, I think I even know the quote you mean. I think it's vague enough and obscure enough and doesn't make sense in the context because I think it just creates more confusion than it.
Fair enough.
I think you're more likely to get confusion than the laugh from the very few who've heard the joke. If it was me. But I think I would shortcut, because so much of what Watkins is saying is just sort of implied. So like, point is to enjoy life because you never know what job is going to be your last. Julius takes his life, whatever else. He takes his last bite, pulls out of, throws the cup over his shoulder. I love the idea that he goes, sometimes you just got to enjoy life. But again, he throws this, again, if I'm filming it, there's a garbage can right there and he throws it and totally misses, right? Then takes a deep breath, pulls out a folder. All right, let's get to work. You want to, where did the note go? I used to have one here that said, oh yeah, I'll just carry on. Because I assumed this was also in here and I know that you're kind of playing with a couple of different things here. So I went ahead and gave some thoughts on this too. I love this 1,200-pound woman. This is hilarious to me. Pulls out a newspaper, signs here. He goes, look at this. He goes, and then the thing, she's stuck in the washroom for over 6 hours. That's hilarious. This is, sorry. That's the kind of really funny banter and stuff that I was kind of urging you to put in when we were doing BPA originally, just to kind of, because it's all so big and serious and action. You got to have those light moments. Holy crap! If this is you today taking that to heart, if this chapter that you've written so far is any indication of how your writing is broadening and you're slowing down and you're taking the time to kind of live in the space of a moment and let the audience enjoy that before you rush on to the next thing. We've all got our sort of our Achilles heels. That's been my observation with you, and it's not a criticism, just a fact. So you doing this is so rewarding to me as your coach and your friend, because I'm looking at this going, yep, this to me, this even more than your prologue, which was awesome. This is to me definitive proof of your evolution as a writer. This is just really good writing. I love this too. At the end of the day, your brain is just a meat computer in a bone cockpit piloting a skin robot. Is that original? Did you come up with that?
No, that's something from Bill Cipher. From
God damn it! I was hoping that was you. But that's really funny. That's really good writing. But I'm trying to think if there's anything down here. Oh yeah. So my suggestion, might be if you keep any of this. I'm not following, sir. What does all this have to do with the Bureau for Paranormal Activity? It means we have ghouls in the Père Lachaise. Come on, eat your ice cream for God's sake. We haven't got all day. This is kind of so now he's giving Watkins shit because he's taking too long eating his ice cream. I would end with something like that. They call it symmetrical callback. Excuse me, where the chapter started with him saying, "Why are we eating ice cream?" He says, "Slow down, son. Enjoy your ice cream." And at the end, he's like, "Can you hurry up and eat your ice cream? We gotta go." Tight. It's tight, man. It's good writing.
And then after that, should I circle around to the graveyard scene in the script?
Yeah, I think you can go from here directly to the great. See, this is the permission you've given yourself when you do a scene like this, and the emotional satisfaction, at least for me as a reader, is you haven't just rushed from Richard being attacked to the graveyard. You've given us that pit stop. You've given us that fun moment. And as often as it makes sense to do that, do it. So yeah, and now I want you to go to the graveyard. Now I'm dying to go to the graveyard, so to speak. So I would do that next.
Okay, perfect. Oh,
yeah.
By the way, I did a little while ago. I wanted to get this taste of Doctor Strange out of my mouth, so I went and watched Godzilla Singularity Point. Did you ever see that TV show?
What's that?
It's on Netflix. It's about time travel and higher dimensions. Almost none of it makes any sense, but it's highly enjoyable to watch.
Godzilla?
Singularity Point. It's on Netflix.
I just realized that PD Blinders has another season here. Oh, it's animated. Oh, okay.
You probably won't... most of it doesn't really make sense unless you really like space-time crap, but it's somehow still enjoyable.
Okay. I will, why isn't it letting me mark that? Hang tight. Before I forget. Okay, bookmark, my friend. I will totally check that out.
Okay. See you next week, Paul. Are we going to... Do you think we should review the prologue or Julius's chapter next week?
I mean, I would love to see what you do with just any touch-ups to the prologue. I would love to. Honestly, I would love. Why don't we do this? Let's take one more look at the prologue. Mm-hmm. Let's get that thing polished. Let's get that thing airtight. Not that we need to do that with every single chapter, but I really believe it's important on a journey like this, with me by your side, is to really nail the first part of what you write, because that sets the tone and that sets the bar for everything else.
That's the hook.
Yeah. Well, and it's also the place to get really clear in your mind how to write well. I don't mean you're not writing well, but I mean it's definitely the beginning of the story, but it's also the beginning. It's you setting the rules and the standards for how you're going to write and what you expect the audience to get from what you write. So let's do that.
Okay.
I'll send you notes on both.
No problem. See you next week, Paul. Peace out.
Take care, man. Ciao.